Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Bright Spots. I hope you had a great day. I'm your host, Laurie Labishak, and we've got a great show planned for you tonight. Our guest this evening is my good friend, Anthony Mougianis, and his lovely bride-to-be, Tara. And I'm not even going to try to say her name because I already forgot how to pronounce it, and she's probably cracking up laughing right now back in the green room, but it has totally slipped my mind. But when she comes on, I'll let you tell her, let her tell you how to say her last name. It is so good to be here. I am so excited that you've decided to join us this evening for Bright Spots. This happens every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock right here on Facebook and on my YouTube channel. Just search Laurie Labishak. You can't miss it. I hope that you plan to join us every week on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. Coming up next week, we have Nikki Fleming with Artists on Call, and you're not going to want to miss that show either. She's got some great things happening, wonderful events coming up, and I want you to hear all about it. So, as always, I have a little bit of a rant this evening, and I want to talk to you a little bit about perspective. I was talking to some folks today, and folks are kind of, unhappy about what's going on. Some people are happy that we're opening. Some people are unhappy that we're opening. Some people think we should wear masks. Some people think we shouldn't wear masks. Some people think it's crazy to have to stay home, and other people think that we shouldn't go out yet. I'm a half cup full girl, and those of you that watch me all the time, you know that. I try to see the positives in things. I keep a grateful journal, a gratitude journal every day. I write down things that I'm thankful for because I believe there's always something that we can be thankful for in everything, no matter how bad the situation looks, right? So you can look at being stuck at home as being stuck at home, or you can look at all the free time you now have. I am so used to being busy, 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 run, get this done, get that done. And what this pandemic has taught me is that it's okay to stop and take a breath and do things that you don't normally get to do or don't normally take the time to do, right? So I've started doing yoga. My daughter has done yoga for years and years, and to be quite honest, I've always thought, what the heck is yoga? That seems kind of silly. But now that I have started really practicing being present and really looking at my surroundings and taking every moment in, and I just am amazed at what yoga does and meditation does at keeping me centered and keeping me in the moment. So, guys, perspective is one of those things that can either make us or break us. You've got to decide whether you're going to look at things half cup full or half cup empty. And I got to tell you that happiness doesn't come from that half cup empty, right? Happiness comes from being thankful for what's all around us, no matter what's going on. There is something to be thankful for. And I absolutely challenge you in that. I challenge you to take a look at your own situation and look at the positives. I bet you'll find them. I bet if you look for it, you will find them. So, without further ado, we are going to bring on our guest. As I said before, Anthony Mougianis is our guest. He is the CEO and president of Apollo Professional Cleaning and Restoration in Wintersville, Ohio. They serve the Ohio Valley, up and down the river, Pittsburgh, Columbus, you name it. Their folks are out there really taking care of all the cleaning needs. And they have had a challenging job during this pandemic. And I've invited Tony on to talk a little bit about that, but I want you to get to know Tony. He is truly an inspiring man. And I think that you will take away from this today some wonderful thoughts, and you will be excited to know that this man and his beautiful bride are truly bright spots in our community. So welcome to the broadcast, Tony and Tara.
Good
Hello,
evening.
hello, friends.
Hi.
And Tara, I'm so sorry. You just told me how to say your name, and I totally blew it.
It's not an easy one, so that's okay. It's Dozvonic.
Desvonic. See, when you say it, I have no problem saying it, but I was thinking of how it was spelled, and I thought, no, I'm not even going to try it.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
It's another good Greek name.
That's right. But soon it will be Mougianis, right? So we're gonna make that happen.
That's right. That's right. Thank you for having us. It's really our pleasure and honor to be with you, Lori.
Thank you. I am just thrilled to have you. So tell us about you. Who is Anthony Mougianis and Tara Desvonic?
Well, I can tell you that what we are and what we're called is TNT. And TNT is only as good as we are together. We are, I rely on my significant partner in everything that we do. We've been blessed with a wonderful family, 5 wonderful children, a great little dog that we love like a child, and our health. You know, we've been blessed. Everything, even during this time of challenge and this time of unrest and unprecedented times that no one has been used to and has prepared for. The only thing that we can look at daily is gratitude. And the greatest human emotion we'll ever feel is gratitude. And that is our base to our success in our business and in our personal lives, is our thanks.
I'm right there with you, Tony. I am truly grounded in gratitude. I think that is what really connects us as human beings. And I don't know how you could find happiness without gratitude. And I truly think that a lot of folks look at it the other way around. They're looking for stuff to fill that void. And it truly is being thankful in all things.
Absolutely.
That brings us peace and happiness.
Absolutely. And you know, and it equates to how business should be run. You know, we have examples of it daily, and as consumers, you know, we get all types of experiences, and we all often shake our heads to the manner in which we may be treated or spoken to. And it's one of the most important things is how we treat others. And it's really the key to how we've been fortunately successful, is the fact that our people want to be here, they want to serve, and even now with the risk that exists with the pandemic, of course we take great precautions and safety measures, but you have to want to do it. And in order for that to happen, it has to be faith-based, and it has to be with gratitude and thanks.
So, Tony and Tara, has the quarantine changed you? And how do you think it has changed you?
I'll let Tara speak.
I don't think it's really changed us. Tony and I are kind of homebodies, I would say. So as other people can't wait to get out, and being home drives them crazy, it hasn't bothered us at all, really. We've picked up some great shows on Netflix. I do have to say he's a pretty bad influence because he keeps me up late when I like to go to bed early. But it's just kind of regular, normal day for us. We just don't go out to eat as much as what we used to.
You adjust, and you adjust to being home, and we're fortunate enough that we can work from home. We have a great staff that does the technical part of our operation. So, you know, that continues on daily, 7 days a week, actually. But we're fortunate enough to, at this point in our lives, that we can have the luxury of working from a home office and being able to stay safe. So really, it's been a blessing in a sense that it hasn't hurt us. And you know, we've been blessed to be an essential business. Some people may look at that as a curse because you're going to be right on the front lines, and we look at it as a blessing, because just like our medical personnel has been on the front lines, we are very similar in that regard, that we're out there and actually performing cleaning and disinfection in places that have had breakouts. So, there is exposure, but we have a group of people that want to help others. And to me, that's the key. That's the total key.
So, has anything changed in your business itself? Have you had to change processes or take extra precautions? How has your business itself changed?
Well, I think the big thing that has changed is we become even more electronic. I think that's something that, before this, I don't think we all were that familiar with what Zoom was. And now there's not many people in business that aren't familiar with that. So teleconferencing, audio, video conferencing has become a norm. I'm on a video conference probably every day, if not more than once a day, with something. And so that has changed a lot. Of course, we're in the cleaning business, but we're that much more precautious on the day to day. The things that we've heard from the CDC as far as, washing our hands, face protection, sanitizing, those things are tenfold improved. And, our equipment, our vehicles, our personnel, it's very strict. And it has to be in order for us to not, spread anything or create a situation in the field. So we take that very, very seriously and with great pride. So yes, there's been some significant changes that we've adapted to. And I think it makes us better, really, because we're watching closer than we ever have.
So, I have had the pleasure to hear you speak, and you're extremely inspiring and motivational. And I have to believe that that comes over to your business as well in the way that you interact with your employees. How have you kept your employees motivated and inspired during this time when you're asking them to go out and basically put their life on the line?
Well, it's those things when you're talking about people is earned. It doesn't happen in a day or a week or a month. It happens over many years of consistent trust and confidence and honesty. There's often, we talk about the one four-letter word that's not spoken much in our society, and that's the L word, as I call it, and that's the word that's LOVE. There are other four-letter words that are easily spoken of in our society today. But speaking in regards to love, love is the key. You have to love your people. You have to love the troops. And in order to love them, there's times that it has to be tough love. Not always welcomed, but nonetheless, just like our family, there's tough love. And there's times that we have to discipline in a sense and teach and educate and coach. But there's also a lot of caring and loving. And to me, that is the key to our people's desire and eagerness to do what it takes. And yes, facing that front line daily. And so we're very appreciative of that.
We're blessed with great employees. Our employees are top notch. They go above and beyond every single day.
They do. We're very, very lucky. And you win with people. One of the greatest quotes that I've always remembered is the Woody Hayes coach of Ohio State, that he said, you win with people. And without people, we're nothing. We can't win with computers or with machines because everyone has computers and everyone has machines. In our business, everyone has a solution to something. But it's the people that administer that make the difference. And to me, that's everything. That's everything.
So you said you have great employees. I'm going to guess that they believe they have great bosses too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening on Bright Spots. We are here with TNT, Tony and Tara from Apollo Professional Cleaning and Restoration. Please drop us a line. Let us know where you're watching from. And also, if you have questions for Tony or Tara, please feel free to put those in the comment sections. We would love to answer your questions. Tony can tell you everything about cleaning, and I bet Tara can as well. I bet that's a lot of pressure, Tara, huh? Like, do you keep your house totally spotless?
I am. Tony and I are both very particular. I have certain things that I'm kind of really, really particular about. One of those would be beverages in the refrigerator. In my house, all the water bottles have to be facing the same way. They have to be in a perfect line. Those are things like if you try to put the water in the refrigerator, like Tony will say, I'll bring it in, but I'll let you put it in the refrigerator because I have a certain way that it has to go.
There's a definite expectation. Yes.
Yeah. So we're both kind of particular about things in our own way. But I do have help with one of our employees that comes over to clean because it just gets to be a lot. When you're working all day, you have things going on in the evening, normally, not at this time, but normally. So I do have one of our employees come over and help us. But yeah, we're both pretty clean.
Yes, I think that's one of the inspirations of being in this business is you can't be dirty and be in this business. If you are, you're going to not do very well. And, as I say often, when I may walk the grounds here at our facility and may see something a little out of place or out of whack, I often say very nicely, and they're probably laughing if they're watching, that, we're not, in the sanitation industry collecting garbage. We're in the cleaning industry. And we need to portray that and be that. So, yeah, you have to be, I think, of a certain mentality to excel in this industry. And we are definitely particular about cleanliness.
How did you get into the cleaning business, Tony?
It's ironic. I talk to, over the years, you become, I've said often, to our team that I probably should have been either a pastor or a social worker because you get to talk and you find out about people's lives. And one of the common questions or comments you get is, I never thought I would be doing this. How did I end up here? And my story is no different. I came from born and raised in this Steubenville area. As a young kid, went to Ohio State and really didn't know what the heck I was doing, and as many don't. And I was in the fitness industry. I wasn't at all thinking about anything remotely close to this. As a young boy, that's kind of everybody's desire, and things changed. And I found out quickly in life that you're going to get lift curves thrown at you, and you're going to be challenged, and there's going to come times of adversity. And that happened to me as a young 22, 23-year-old man. And we came back home. We were in Columbus and we came back home and joined forces with my former brother-in-law that was in the industry as well. And we were just two fellas out there cleaning. And those were the grassroots days, in the early 80s, 1983, actually. So this is year 37, and not bad for being only 38, wouldn't you say? So it's something that you ask yourself. It's if you don't believe that there's a God, you do when you go through what we've gone through, and that is. You never ever would think that you would end up cleaning carpets as a livelihood, and it has put our children through schools. It has done wonderful things. It's a wonderful, wonderful business, but you've got to work at it just like anything. And I say many things to our team, But one of my favorites is half of success is knowing what you have to give up in order to get it. And that takes you halfway home if you know that you can't have it all. Along the way, you're going to give something up. And I vividly remember giving up not bridal, but I'm thinking bridal from earlier, but giving up dance recitals and softball games and these types of activities when our kids were young. But you do it because you're trying to make a better life for them. And so I take great pride in the fact that there's nothing that replaces being industrious. Having the desire to work hard is much greater than any smarts a person has. Because I've seen in my lifetime many super intelligent idiots that don't understand people. And to me, that's the key. Once again, is hard work and treating people right, treating people fair.
So we have, if you see behind us, we have Apollo, which is known locally here, but we also have another company called Team ATG that you'll see back there too, that a lot of people around here don't know about. Tony, go ahead and tell them about ATG.
Well, that's another wonderful business that we've been blessed with. And we, in the late 80s, we had looked around at trying to diversify. And if you look at our logo above the Team ATG, that is to portray an acoustical ceiling. So what we do is we clean and restore acoustical ceilings in large facilities like the Targets and the Walmarts and the Krogers and facilities like that all over the nation. So it's quite a unique thing, and it's something that not many do. There's probably only about a dozen of us that do this on this level in the country. So it's one of our secrets, I guess. One of the best kept secrets is that not many people know about us locally. They know about Apollo and what we do with that, but our national organization is tremendous, and we've worked that since 1987. And I remember many times living out of a duffel bag. We are daily recruiting and looking for people, and one of the hardest things to recruit for is asking someone to live out of a duffel bag for a while. There's not many, and so there's challenges there, but we've been blessed, and we have some wonderful clients that we serve. Just to give you an idea, we'll do over 25 million square feet of ceiling cleaning in 2020.
Wow.
That's a lot of ceilings.
It's a lot of square feet. So we're very blessed. We're very lucky. But when you think, I'm going to quote Woody Hayes again. I'm an Ohio State person, so I hope I'm not offending anyone, but Woody Hayes was very much of the belief in being humble. And as soon as you get a little overconfident, and he would say, if an old lady comes up to you and gives you a compliment, rear back as hard as you can and kick her in the shins as hard as you can, because don't let it get to your head and allow you not to continue to stay humble and appreciative of everything you have, because let me tell you, you never arrive.
So, Tony, I know that you are a man of quotes, and I love that about you, because you're able to take that quote and really apply it to life, apply it to what's going on. And you sent me this quote. So why is this quote important to you?
To me, I believe that the greatest honor we have is having the desire to serve others and to be servants. That's to me what we're here to do. If we take that approach in our lives and become servant leaders, we will positively impact not just our businesses or our careers, will positively impact our families, our children, our churches, our community organizations that we are a part of. And that's something else that's important, is that, we give back. And Andrew Carnegie said, the first 40 years of your life, you should devote towards working hard and earning. And if you're fortunate enough, the second 40 and beyond, you need to give it away. That's the true mentality of a servant leader. And that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to give every last red cent away, but you're going to give of yourself. You're going to give of your time. You're going to give of your heart to others that need it and do not have it. We have many wonderful organizations in our county here in Steubenville, Jefferson County, as they do in many of our Ohio Valley. But I'm involved in many of the ones locally here. And it's a passion of mine now at this time in my life to be able to help these organizations do a little better in serving the people they serve. A case in point, we are a big part of the United Way. The United Way has close to 20 different member agencies that feed people. That in our area, hunger is one of the biggest problems we have. And you wouldn't think that. I surely don't when I look in the mirror, that's for sure. But I can tell you that is a problem for hundreds and hundreds of people in our county and in our area. And you'd be surprised to know that often may be just down the street from where you live and you don't know it. So it's not enough if God has blessed us to just take and receive. We have an obligation to be servant leaders and to give back.
I love that. A couple of weeks ago, our guest was from the Vagabond Mission, and he talked about the kids that they feed through the Vagabond Mission and the families that they feed right in our own backyards. And I think it's easy to have that sense about us that happens other places. That doesn't happen in my neighborhood. But the truth of it is, it happens in every neighborhood. There
Absolutely.
are people that are hungry. And like you, when I look in the mirror, and I honestly never remember going hungry a day in my life. So the idea that there are people in our neighborhoods going hungry is heartbreaking. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I applaud you for.
Yeah, it is to go to the food pantries, on the days that they're distributing food. I mean, it's heartbreaking.
I've taken many of my employees on distribution days at the food pantries that we support, and there's several in Jefferson County, and it's really one of the true humbling experiences because we're not thinking, as you said, about that meal tonight. It's just taken for granted, and not in a negative way. It's part of we're used to that.
Exactly.
It's not like we take it for granted, but there are people with young children. There are people that I've met in the line and spoken to that, had jobs and worked and lost their jobs. So you never know what adversity we may face in our lifetimes. But could you imagine if we never faced any? I often say that to our staff and to our team and many people that I try to, get to is, could you imagine if we never did face one lick of adversity, what type of people we would be, right? What type of mentality we'd have and attitudes that we would have. So God has purposely, I believe, placed us in positions to where we learn. And often it's stumbling and falling flat on our face. And, brushing off and getting up and going back at it. And so, it's all a learning lesson. And, I have always been inspired by the elderly, the people that have wisdom. When I was a young boy, I would sit with my great-grandfather. Now, I was fortunate enough to have a great-grandfather and great-grandmother. And I would sit where other kids were out there playing and doing whatever. I would like to sit and hear them talk and hear them tell me stories. I'm a huge history buff, and I like to always, go back to the different eras and in history and see how leaders acted and performed. But to me, that is the most inspiring. And look, today, it's an industry that in many cases we put them away and allow them to slowly just kind of fizzle away. One of the biggest challenges in our society here in this country of affluent people is the seniors that are compiling in these homes. And many of them are fantastic places, but some are not. And some, we go into many and often donate our services because we want to make sure that they're clean and disinfected. And that's not to receive a pat on the back, but it goes back to the core values of our philosophy, and that is, you win with people, you take care of people, and if not, what do we have? What do we have? So, often I think that as time goes on, and you hear, I'm 61 now, so. When I was 41, I think my thought might have been a little different. When I was 21, I know my thoughts were a lot different. But when you become, and you have the fortune of being older and being healthy. Last year I had a health scare, and I've learned a lot from that. It puts you into a different level of appreciation.
It sure does.
And you're fortunate and thankful for just being able to, get out of bed and walk, and the things that we take for granted. But I just think that we've got to take care of the people that took care of us. And people often forget about those people. Those people become forgotten souls. We're fortunate enough to still have my mom around, and she's in a facility that we're very fortunate that she's in because she's taken very well care of. But not everyone can do that. Not everyone has the ability to be able to do that for their loved ones, and they become a part of the system. And it's so sad to see, because those people were you and me at one time, sitting where you and I are sitting. And so
they don't have advocates for them.
Yeah, it's something. It's one of our passions now. So, but anyway, it's part of the entire philosophy of taking care of people.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is Bright Spots, and our guests this evening are TNT, Tony and Tara of Apollo Restoration, Professional Cleaning and Restoration, and ATG, which I've just learned about tonight, so that's really exciting. We're so glad you've decided to join us. Please be sure and drop us a note. Let us know you're there and where you're tuning in from. And if you have questions for our guests this evening, we would love to answer your questions. So, Tony, how do you see the business of cleaning changing as we move forward out of the pandemic? Will anything be different?
Absolutely. I think that this unprecedented time will change how we approach cleaning forever. This is not something that's just going to end and we go back to the way life was. We still have a long road ahead. It's wonderful to see that things are slowly opening back up, but we're far away from being back to any type of normalcy that we had before. I think that the consumer is going to be much more concerned about cleanliness and disinfection. I know commercial establishments have to be. So you're going to see and it's going to aid the consumer because we're going to be going to restaurants that are cleaner. We're going to be going to nursing homes that are cleaner and disinfected and safer for our loved ones and safer for us. So yes, I believe that, and you said earlier, Lori, that, even during a time of adversity, there's a positive thing that comes. There are many positive things that have come from this pandemic. There's always something positive in times of adversity, always. And this is just one of the many. And that is, we will be better. We'll watch closer. We'll take more precautions. And I think people will stay a little healthier because of it all.
So if we think about cleaning at home, do you have any advice from a professional standpoint on how people should maybe change their routine at home? Is there anything we should be doing differently that maybe we haven't done before the pandemic?
I can tell you that, I've noticed in my own self, I might not have been as good at staying on top of, say, washing and sanitizing my hands. That in itself, by itself, can curve this way down. Way down. As far as in our home, it's, maybe being a little bit more in tune to, our surfaces, our doorknobs, exterior and interior, where we're walking, where we're taking our shoes off, where, we're touching, especially, in the beginning of where we enter our homes and in the commercial sector, it's the front of the house, as we call it, where people enter. That's going to be an area that should and will be much more concentrated on. And once again, it's good. It's good for all of us because things will stay much cleaner and safer for everyone. Because I would say, aside of the face-to-face, the biggest transference of any virus, not just this COVID-19, but any virus or disease that is spread is through, is through touching, is through our hands. So just, the increased awareness that we've been put through, I know it's done it for me, that it will do it for many, and that we'll be better off for it in the long run.
Great. So many states are starting to open now. We've started going back to some outdoor dining, and some of our retail shops are opening with social distancing. I stopped at the store on my way home tonight to pick up dog shampoo, of all things, and it was interesting to see the X's on the floor, and I got to be honest, I've been working throughout the pandemic. I've gone to the office every day, but I've gone to the office and I've come home. I've truly not gone anywhere else, maybe Kroger occasionally, but I've truly not gone anywhere else. My husband and I have both been working. So I guess, we're on the fortunate side of the pandemic. And I've talked to friends who also have continued working, and we talked a little bit about the stimulus and how a lot of the nonprofits in the market have suffered because of the pandemic. My daughter is the development officer for Ogilvy Institute in Wheeling, and they've had to cancel all of their summer programs, their June camps, that kids go to and look forward to every summer. And that's a huge part of their revenue. They're not having dance classes. They're not having art shows. And that's all about their revenue. So her job has become extremely important now because she's got to find those dollars somewhere else to fill the void for what has been lost. And I know that we challenged some of our friends who have been working through this. If you don't need the stimulus, maybe you would consider donating that. You didn't plan on having it. So how about donating it to one of those nonprofits that are really struggling now because of this? those food banks, Vagabond Missions, the United Way, the Health Center downtown, all of those spring fundraisers that create the revenue for um, their annual budgets. I think about the fundraisers that got canceled in March and April and May, which is fundraising season, as we say in the business. That's when all of those fundraisers happen. And I got to tell you, I'm so disappointed that we didn't get to go to the Kentucky Derby. I was so excited about the theme for that event. I told Trudy Wilson, I hate that I don't get to wear my big hat.
We're going to try to still do it in September, right?
Yeah, September.
Yeah,
I think the Kentucky Derby is rescheduled for.
The fall is going to be busy, right? It's going to be.
Let's hope. That's the thing. The hope is, as we said earlier, if this can stay steady and continue to drop, and I think that, each week makes a difference. And, this week with restaurants, that's a little step forward. It's all going to come down to how we act as people, how serious we are. I don't go into any of these stores. And not that we don't patronize them, but I just personally don't want to expose myself. And Tara goes, but she's covered, and she comes and tells me how many are just going around like life is normal. And we have to understand, if we're going to eliminate this at some point, it has to do all with us and how we treat it. And but it's you mentioned about the nonprofit. We just had a meeting yesterday, a Zoom meeting with our local Greek Orthodox church, and every year it's a perfect example that we rely on one big event every June to be able to help keep our church going. And of course, this year we've had to postpone it, and now it's in October, hopefully, and it becomes more of a fall Greek Fest. But without that event, and what's happened often in our area is many of these churches of all faiths, our kids are moving away. They're not staying here. They're not coming to church here. They live in other areas, and our older population is starting to pass on. And that all trickles down to many of these parishes and communities are struggling now more than ever because of this event and of what's happened with this pandemic. It would be wonderful if everyone would take that stimulus check that does receive one and know that it's easy come, it should be easy go. But unfortunately, that may not be the case too often. But I think it's a wonderful idea. Actually, I may even speak about that. It's a great idea to as many as I can, because really we were doing just fine without it. Let's help people that need help more than us.
Right.
Yeah, that's really the way we've tried to look at it as well. And so as you see the states start to open and things start to get back to normal as close as we can, what do you believe will be the biggest challenge for our community?
I think that just like it is really, we've been really blessed in the valley, specifically in our northern part of the valley here has not been, and maybe testing has a lot to do with that as far as the numbers, but I think our local health authorities have done extremely well in following our governor's expectations. And I think if we follow the rules, and that's, I'm involved in many business things. We're on the chamber and we're involved in the chamber, as you know. We want to see business do well, obviously. We're business. We all want to see them start thriving again. But we also need to be very cautious. And because if we aren't cautious and this does spike again, we're going to go back to ground zero. And I hate to think of that as a possibility, because it's going to put us way back. And so I think it's as simple as trying to make people follow the rules. If you go shopping, wear a mask. Wash your hands. If you touch the mail that came to your house, normally you may not think, your hands are clean. Go in and wash and sanitize your hands, just to be safe, because that's been handled by a whole bunch of people before it got to your house. Some basic things that if we can all do that on a large scale, I think it'll also have an effect on our local community, and that we can continue to rise above this. But to get back to what normalcy might have been, I'm not sure if we'll ever be that again. I think that this has been so significant that it's changed us in many ways. We're going to work harder at staying cleaner and staying safer. But I think that it's all to do with us and our willingness to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's great. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Bright Spots. Our guests this evening are T&T, Tony and Tara of Apollo Professional Cleaning and Restoration, and ATG. So we are getting close to the end of our broadcast. Please, if you have questions for Tony or Tara, drop them in the comments. We would love to hear about that. We're so glad you decided to join us this evening. And Tony, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience? Anything you'd like to share about yourself or the cleaning business or life in general?
I think overall that we're just very, very thankful for the people of our community. One thing I can tell you is that we may not be big in numbers, or we may not have all the frills and thrills that many larger metropolitan areas have, but we surely have great support in our valley. We support one another. We help one another in times of need. And that's not always the case in many other locales. We are fortunate that we're only, a few miles away from a large metropolitan area if we want those frills and thrills. But I wouldn't change anything for what we have here in the Ohio Valley. My father used to call it the garden capital of the world. And as a young fella, I would say, Dad, what are you talking about? I don't understand the correlation. And I think what he meant was we have, true life in this valley, in this area. We love one another. We care for one another. We're very passionate about each other, and we protect one another. And that is a special thing. And so we feel very, very blessed to call this our home.
That's great. Well, we don't have any questions just yet. We do have a couple of comments. This from Miss Jessica Kelly, and I see Jessica's mom, Charlene, is also in the house this evening. Thank you, Jessica, for joining us this evening. And folks, if you want to know more about Apollo Professional Cleaning and Restoration, you can visit their website, and it is right here. It is apolloprocleaning.com. Please take a look at the website. I understand you can send them a message if you have a question about a cleaning issue, or you would like to talk to someone about scheduling their professionals to come into your home or business for services. So be sure you check that out. And Tony and Tara, I'm so glad that you were able to join us this evening on Bright Spots. Please continue to shine your light, Tony, and I hope I get the opportunity to hear you speak again. I'm thrilled to serve with you on the chamber board. It's great to get to see you at least once a month.
Absolutely.
And Tara, I just have to tell you that it has been a joy to watch you watch Tony as he spoke this evening. I can see the pride in your face and the love that you have for this man, and that is beautiful.
I absolutely do. He's a wonderful person. He's a wonderful partner. He's a wonderful father. He's just a great person. So I'm very blessed.
Well, I'm honored to know you both and call you my friends. And I wish you the best with your business And oh, here's a question from, I bet someone you know, or not a question, but a comment.
Oh, you know
That's
what?
Yeah.
She makes the best, the biscuits, the Italian biscuits.
Biscotti.
Biscotti, oh, the best.
Scotty. Ah,
Oh,
well,
Ricky's our good friend.
Hi, Ricky.
Thanks, Rick.
I'm going to have to get my kukalarakaya somewhere else since
Hey, I have to give you some kudos on that
That was
one.
good.
You said that very well.
yeah, that's
Excellent.
Very good.
my husband goes for the baklava, but I always look for the kukalarakaya.
Oh,
That's
they're
my
great. They're
absolute
great.
favorite.
Have
Yeah.
them with your coffee.
Yeah, they're a
Oh,
good coffee cookie. Yeah.
They are amazing. So I look forward to that festival every year. So I guess again, the fall is going to be very busy.
yes.
Yeah. So, and that's okay. You know, I look at this. My husband and I have spent a good bit of time together, just like you and Tony, in the evenings. You know, because you can't go anywhere, nothing's going on, and we've gotten some projects done around the house that had needed done. You know, that we had put off. So, again, it's looking at the positives in this and every situation, and we're going to keep on keeping on. And
Well, and you know, I think you said earlier, and I love the glass half full versus half empty, you know, analogies. And I can tell you that it's all about how we perceive things. Perception is everything. And, you know, thank you, Maria. That's what it's about. And if we perceive it as being positive, it will be positive. If we perceive it as being gloom and doom, guess what? It's going to be gloom and doom. So, you know, it doesn't always mean it's going to be perfect. We all know that. And that's okay. It keeps us focused and in line. So let's count our blessings and continue to, you know, do God's work, because that's what we're doing every day.
absolutely, I agree. Tony and Tara, thank you so much. And I wish you the very best. And I hope to see you soon. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Bright Spots. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Be sure to tune in each and every Wednesday at 7 o'clock right here and on YouTube. Next week's guest is Nikki Fleming of Artists on Call. I hope you'll join us. Until then, this is Laurie Labishak with Bright Spots. God bless you. Love you all.